crazy like a fool.
Did you ever dance to Boney M's catchy disco tunes back in the 70s? They had hit songs like Rivers of Babylon that made everyone move.
That's when I went to see. Then I stopped in Norway, and then I went over to Holland, and I spent a while in Holland, about 3.5 years. Then I came over to Germany.
But did you know there was a secret behind their success? What if I told you that Boney M wasn't what they seemed? I mean, many people loved their music, but most fans didn't know the truth. What was the real story behind their music? Could it be one of the biggest scams in music history? And how did they keep the secret hidden for so long? Let's dive into the shocking story of Boney M and find out what really went on.
I've been here for 4 or 5 years as a solo artist. And I heard about this little group. I wasn't at all interested because I'm more of a solo type of person, you know?
Now let's talk about the origin of Boney M. Most folks don't know that the birth of Boney M was a result of a certain musician trying to hide his identity, which eventually turned into one of the biggest music acts of the 70s. I am talking about a German singer and songwriter, Frank Farian, who was struggling to find success in his music career. At the time, he was a Schlager singer, which is a type of European music that talks about love and emotions. He had been releasing his music through the Hansa label, but things weren't really working out for him. So Frank decided to try something different.
I stopped in Norway, and then I went over to Holland, and I spent a while in Holland, about 3.5 years. Then I came over to Germany.
One day, Frank recorded a song called Baby Do You Wanna Bump? This song was a disco track, totally different from his usual music. In the song, he kept repeating the line, "Do you wanna bump?" in a deep voice, followed by a high-pitched chorus. The track was very catchy, and when he took it to the Hansa label, they loved it. They wanted to release it as a single, but there was one problem. Frank didn't want to release it under his own name because he was already known as a Schlager singer. He didn't want people to get confused. That's when Frank came up with the name Boney M. He got the idea from a TV show he saw on German TV. It was an Australian detective series, and the main character's name was Napoleon Bonaparte. When Frank saw the name Boney in the credits, he thought it sounded cool. So Boney M became the name for this new project. At first, Frank didn't expect much from the song, but to his surprise, by the end of 1975, the song started climbing the Dutch music charts. It became popular in the Netherlands, and a Dutch TV station wanted Boney M to perform the song on their show. That's when Frank ran into a problem. He couldn't perform as Boney M because people knew him as Frank Farian, the Schlager singer. Frank had to think fast. Instead of performing himself, he came up with a clever plan. He decided to form a band to represent Boney M. This way, he could stay behind the scenes while the band would promote the song. This was the start of Boney M, a group that would later go on to become hugely successful in the world of disco music.
The last one, actually, I guess they weren't planning on me, really.
However, the search wasn't easy, but he eventually found 4 amazing singers: Marcia Barrett and Claudia Berry, both from Jamaica, Maizie Williams from Montserrat, and Bobby Farrell from Aruba. Together, they were the first members of a group that would later become famous as Boney M. Frank believed this group could achieve great success and had many creative ideas for their future. He knew they had potential to be more than just a band with one hit song, like their early song, Baby Do You Wanna Bump? But sadly, before the group could move forward, Claudia Berry left to pursue a solo career. She went on to become a successful singer in Canada. This left Marcia, Maizie, and Bobby as a trio. They continued to perform, still promoting their song, Baby Do You Wanna Bump? While they waited for Frank to find a replacement for Claudia, they kept working hard. Eventually, Frank found Liz Mitchell, another talented singer from Jamaica, to join the group. With Liz now on board, Boney M was complete and ready to show the world what they could do.
We're not allowed to play Rasputin, but all over in Russia, all in the small towns, they all knew Rasputin.
Knew about Rasputin, yeah.
Boney M released their first album, Take the Heat Off Me. This album had several songs, including Daddy Cool, Sunny, No Woman No Cry, and Fever. At first, the album didn't attract much attention. But the group didn't give up. They worked hard, performing at clubs, discos, and even country fairs to get noticed. Their persistence paid off later that year.
She's crazy like a fool.
Boney M's big break came when a German TV producer invited them to perform on his show in September 1976. They appeared on live TV and performed the song Daddy Cool. Their performance was a huge success, and the song quickly became a hit in Germany. It even reached #1 on the charts. This success wasn't just limited to Germany. Soon, Daddy Cool became a hit in several European countries, including Switzerland, Sweden, Norway, Spain, France, and Austria. It also made it into the top 10 in the UK, where the group started gaining a lot of fans. Following the success of their first album, Boney M didn't waste any time. They quickly began working on their second album, Love for Sale, which was released in 1977. This album included hit songs like Ma Baker and Belfast. It also featured some cover songs such as Love for Sale by Cole Porter and Have You Ever Seen the Rain by Creedence Clearwater Revival. To promote their new album, Boney M went on their first major concert tour. This tour helped them build an even bigger fan base. After a year of its release, the Love for Sale album was certified gold, and the songs Ma Baker and Belfast became #1 hits in Germany and the UK. Although Boney M had already enjoyed success in their first 2 years, 1978 turned out to be their biggest year yet. That year, they released one of their most famous songs, Rivers of Babylon, along with Brown Girl in the Ring. These songs became massive hits across Europe, with Rivers of Babylon reaching #1 in several countries. In the UK, it became one of the best-selling singles of all time. This song helped make Boney M popular even in the United States, where Rivers of Babylon peaked at #30 on the US pop charts. The success of the single boosted sales for their third album, Night Flight to Venus, which was released in June 1978. The album also included other hits like Rasputin and Painter Man. Boney M continued to release more hit songs that year, including the Christmas song Mary's Boy Child, Oh My Lord. This song became the Christmas #1 single in the UK and is still remembered as one of the biggest selling Christmas songs. By the end of 1978, Boney M's popularity had reached new heights. They went on a huge tour that took them to countries all around the world, including Switzerland, Austria, France, and even Kenya. The buzz around the group kept growing, and they were on the verge of becoming one of the biggest disco acts of their time. But just suddenly, things swiftly took a turn. Their supposed secrets began to crack open and make everyone's left questioning their authenticity, hence the declining of their lifelong career. Wondering what the secret was, let's find out. The biggest scam in music history. Now imagine watching a concert and feeling amazed by the performance, only to find out later that it was all an illusion. Well, that was the case of Boney M. Fans loved their music, but much of what they saw on stage was not as it seemed. Behind the glittering lights and exciting dance moves, Boney M was lip-syncing. They created a spectacular show that made them feel like a live musical act, but the real singing was done by others, hidden away from the spotlight. Frank Farian, who was the record producer, sang the deep and powerful male vocals in the recordings, while the group members did contribute some backing vocals live. The lead vocals were usually pre-recorded by the session singers. This allowed for a consistent and polished sound that matched the studio recordings.
Yesterday my life was filled with rain.
I mean, the music industry has many secrets, and lip syncing is one of those secrets that insiders talk about quietly. Fans, however, had no idea about the truth and flocked to Boney M's concerts, mesmerized by the show. The group definitely had a unique way of making music that captivated people, and their lively performances made everyone want to dance. But as they gained more fame, critics and journalists began to take notice and started asking questions. Articles in magazines and newspapers began to explore what was really happening behind the scenes. Amid all this buzz, Bobby Farrell, the group's frontman, became the face of the controversy. He had a strong presence on stage and was loved by fans, but he faced a tough truth. He was not the one singing the hits that made Boney M famous. This created tension within the group. Even with all the drama, Boney M's popularity didn't fade. Their catchy tunes made people want to dance, and the mystery surrounding their performances added to their charm. As more people began to question Boney M's authenticity, the pressure to show their true singing abilities grew stronger. The well-crafted illusion was close to being revealed, and the truth about their performances, which had been a secret for so long, was ready to come to light. In 1978, it also became public knowledge that Maizie Williams did not sing on the studio recordings either, since her voice wasn't suited for this kind of music, as Farrell stated in an interview with German teen magazine Bravo. While only 2 of Boney M's official members actually contributed to the sound of the band's records, all 4 members of the group, including Williams and Farrell, performed the vocals live at Boney M concerts. This left everyone questioning their authenticity, hence the decline of their lifelong career. The decline was hard to ignore. The group that had once sold out stadiums and dominated the charts was now playing smaller venues and dealing with dwindling record sales. Farrell, along with the rest of Boney M, found himself at a crossroads, navigating the challenges of a career that had soared to incredible heights, only to face the inevitable struggles that came with maintaining success in such a volatile industry. This was a big blow for the band, and soon after, they officially disbanded. After the split, many different versions of Boney M formed. Some members continued to use the name and performed on their own. This happened because in some countries the name Boney M wasn't registered, so some former members could still use it for their music. Let's meet the original members of Boney M and learn some interesting things about each of them. First up is Bobby Farrell.
Boney M music is the music of the universe. Communication music. Music is communication. Communication brings us closer. The closer we get, we fall in love, and what we do with it is our business.
Are we in love yet? Almost?
Bobby Farrell was the most recognized member of Boney M, born on October 6, 1949, in Aruba at just 15. Bobby left Aruba. He became a sailor for 2 years before setting his sights on Europe. He first moved to Norway and then to the Netherlands, where he tried his luck as a DJ. However, he soon moved to Germany, hoping for better chances. Bobby worked as a DJ until Frank Farrell noticed him. At that time, Frank was putting together the group. He wanted Bobby to be the male singer in the band. Bobby's charisma and energy made him a great fit, but there was a surprising twist. Bobby did not actually sing on most of Boney M's famous songs. Instead, Frank Farrell recorded the male vocals himself. Liz Mitchell, one of the female singers, later confirmed this. As earlier mentioned, Bobby performed live for the group, often using a style that some described as growling. However, in 1981, Bobby left the group because he clashed with Farrell. After leaving Boney M, Bobby recorded songs where his real voice could be heard for the first time. He was replaced by Reggie Tsibo, but Bobby didn't give up on music. He tried to start a solo career, but later rejoined the group in 1984. They continued to perform together until they officially split in 1986. Interestingly, Frank Farrell had planned for Boney M to be a 10-year project all along. Bobby's daughter, Zenelia Farrell, later shared that her father lost a lot after leaving Boney M. He had signed away all his rights to the group's music and image. This decision left him without any income from the band's hits. They had to move in with Bobby's mother in the Netherlands and rely on welfare to get by. Zenelia said, "My father lost everything, and this made him very angry." Thankfully, Bobby's wife at the time had a clever idea. She realized that since Farrell hadn't registered the name Boney M everywhere, Bobby could still perform under that name in some countries. Sadly, Bobby passed away on December 30th, 2010, in a hotel room in St. Petersburg, Russia, due to heart failure. He had complained about breathing issues after performing the night before. His body was found by hotel staff when he did not answer a wake-up call. Ironically, he died on the same date and in the same city as Grigory Rasputin, a character from one of Boney M's famous songs. Bobby Farrell was buried in Zorgvlied Cemetery in Amsterdam, leaving behind a legacy of music and memories. Another member of the band is Liz Mitchell. Liz Mitchell's story starts way before being famous in the band.
Let's have a match.
So I was playing in here. I started in 1970 in Berlin, and there, of course, was like a great outbreak for a young talent.
In the beautiful parish of Clarendon, Jamaica. Born into a loving family, Liz had a normal childhood until everything changed when she was just 11 years old. In 1963, her family moved to London, England. They settled in a lively area called Harlesden, where Liz began to discover her passion for music. By the late 1960s, Liz had her first big break. She auditioned for the musical Hair and got the role. This opportunity led her to West Berlin, where she replaced Donna Summer in the show. Liz loved performing, and after Hair, she joined a group called the Leigh Humphreys Singers. And then in February 1976, Liz got an exciting phone call from a talent agency. That's when they called her to come and join the group. Liz became the lead singer, and her powerful voice helped the group become a huge success. However, after a decade of success, Boney M disbanded in 1986. Liz, along with some former members, tried to keep the group alive. But things were challenging. She became focused on her solo career. As the years went on, Liz kept working hard, recording new music and touring. In 1996, she and her husband opened Dove House Studios, where they recorded new music and built a fan club. After several years, Liz finally released her album, Share the World, in 1999. She also put out a Christmas album called Christmas Rose the following year. Her faith became a big part of her life, and she released an album called Let It Be in 2004, filled with inspirational songs. Today, Liz Mitchell is still performing. She tours under the name Boney M, featuring Liz Mitchell, bringing joy to her fans around the world. In 2014, a special blue plaque was unveiled at her childhood home in London, celebrating her achievements in music. Liz now lives in Caversham, Reading, and in 2024, she received the honor of being named a member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE, for her contributions to music and charity. Next we have is Marcia Barrett was born in St. Catherine Parish, British Jamaica.
I've been singing here for 4 or 5 years as a solo artist. And I heard about this little group. I wasn't at all interested because I'm more of a solo type.
Her parents brought her to Croydon, England in 1963. In the late 1960s, she moved to Germany, where she joined a band and toured with Carol Gott and Rex Gildo. In 1971, she signed to Metronome Records and made her first record, Could Be Love, written by Drafi Deutscher. At the same time, she kept touring with such songs as Son of a Preacher Man, Oh Happy Day, and Big Spender. And then in 1975, she joined Boney M. While Mitchell was regarded as the lead singer, owing to her larger number of songs on which she performed lead vocals, Barrett contributed harmony on many of the group's well-known songs. After the group split up in 1990, Marcia faced some tough times. Life after Boney M. My dear, I've been through hell and back, Barrett said in a radio interview in November 2001. She was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She had a recurrence of her disease and was unable to work. By 1997, she began working with producer Scott Christina on dance tracks. The resulting album, Survival, appeared in November 1999. 2 new tracks, a solo of Boney M's #1 hit, Rivers of Babylon, and a new track called Seasons, were played on a small Dutch radio show, but neither track was released. Barrett made her second album, Come Into My Life, in 2005. It included a cover of Hey Joe, a new version of Belfast, as well as original recordings written by her and her husband Marcus. In addition, a cover of Fleetwood Mac's instrumental Albatross, for which Barrett had been allowed to add her own lyrics by its composer Peter Green, and the song Rip It Up were also part of the track listing. She also toured with her own version of Boney M. She attended with Liz Mitchell and Frank Farian at the London and Berlin premieres of the Daddy Cool musical. In October 2007, she turned down a song for the album Disco 2008, a project by UK music producer Ian Levine. In October, she and her Boney M were invited by President Mikhail Saakashvili to perform in South Ossetia. Barrett is currently living in Berlin with her husband Marcus James, married in 1984, who was a guitarist in the band of Eddie Grant. Barrett has a son who was born in the UK when she was age 16. And then finally we have Maizie Ursula. Maizie Ursula Williams is a British model, dancer, and singer. She was born on March 25, 1951, and became famous as a member of the group. Maizie also did not sing in the studio recordings. Maizie was a big part of the group and performed live on stage. Later, she started her own music career as a solo singer. Looking at her early life, Maizie grew up in Birmingham, England. She first worked as a model and won the title Miss Black Beautiful in 1973. After that, she started her own band called Black Beautiful People. In the mid-1970s, Maizie moved to West Germany with her friend Shayla Bonnick. One day, while at a restaurant, an agent approached them and asked if they wanted to join a new group called Boney M. Though Maizie's brother once told her she didn't have a good singing voice, she decided to give it a shot. Maizie stayed with Boney M until they officially broke up in 1990. After that, she created her own version of the group called Boney M featuring Maizie Williams, where she finally got the chance to sing lead in live performances. She reunited with Shayla Bonnick for this project. There was some controversy when Maizie filed a court case against Frank Farian and Sony BMG, arguing that she deserved payment from Boney M's record sales. In 2009, the court ruled in her favor. Maizie didn't stop after Boney M. In December 2006, she released her first solo record, Call Upon Jesus. She also made a dance version of the Boney M hit Sunny in 2007. Maizie continued to perform around the world and released new music. In 2011, she worked on a tribute song for Josephine Baker, which she co-wrote with Dutch songwriters. Unfortunately, the group's producer and main founder, Frank Farian, passed away at the age of 82. In his remembrance, a farewell tour is scheduled for June and July 2024 in Australia. Frank Farian was a legend who was the brainbox of the success of numerous hits from the 1970s down to this day, and who pulled off the greatest scam in the music industry,